What is up, boys and girls? Londrick here, and I'm back, and it's time to do the History of the King Ring Q&A. Put the video out a few weeks ago. You guys sent the questions. I'll give the answers. That's kind of how this works. So yeah, this is probably going to be a shorter one because I didn't get that many questions, to be honest. And I'm not in the part of Q&A. I'm just not sure if I'm going to do them anymore after this, because I don't really want to talk about the current WWE product, and I've done a theme one here, and I've not got that many responses. So unless you guys tell me the sort of topics you might want to hear me talk about, I might do it. But yeah, at the moment I'm just not sure if I'm going to do any more going forward, or at least have a while not doing them, if that makes sense. Because yeah, like I say, because if I do a current one, I'm just going to get asked a lot of questions about the WWE product, and I'm just not really interested right now talking about that. But anyway, we know how a Q&A works. You ask the questions, I'll give the answers. So let's get down to it. This is going to be all about the history of the King of the Ring pay-per-view, as we're now in June. And this was the big June pay-per-view from 2003 to 2004. 2002, sorry. So yeah, let's just get to it. First question, and hopefully I get your name right, because I might get this wrong. But you comment quite often, so I know who you are. Yasin Palascu. Could have got your name wrong, but that's how I pronounce it. So, what do you like more, Money in the Bank or King of the Ring? Probably say Money in the Bank overall, because one, I think it's a more exciting concept, and obviously because you've got the ladder match and stuff, and you've got the briefcase for a title shot anytime for the year, so that was pretty cool. I think overall it's got a higher success rate than King of the Ring of elevating people, although granted not recently, because I feel like last 2 or 3 years, Money in the Bank's kind of gone to shit. I mean, let's look at the last 3 years. So since Dean Ambrose won it in 2016 and cashed it on the same night, yeah, you could say that's a success. 2017 was Carmella for the women's, and then she had the briefcase for ages and won the Money in the Bank and had a kind of mediocre title reign. Baron Corbin, that was a complete waste of time. Then last year, Braun Strowman, who cashed it in and filled. And this year, Brock Lesnar's got the briefcase purely just to troll everyone. But before that, obviously you had like the Seth Rollins, the Edges, the Dolph Ziggler's, Daniel Bryan's, CM Punk's, guys like that who, especially I would say definitely Punk and Bryan for sure, used Money in the Bank to elevate themselves to become top guys in WWE. But King of the Ring, I think success rate was quite hit and miss. So yeah, quite hit and miss for the King of the Ring ones. Sometimes you get successes, and you'd get Billy Gunn and Mabel's as well. So yeah, this is a good one. Best / worst pay-per-views, but obviously in brackets, excluding 1993/1995. So yeah, obviously 93 would obviously be the best, and 95 would be obviously the worst. So I would not include them. So second best, it's got to be 1998 for second best. I mean, super hot time in wrestling. You had obviously the legendary Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell match, Austin versus Kane First Blood match for the WWF Championship, pretty solid tournament final between The Rock and Ken Shamrock, pretty underrated match actually, with the New Age Outlaws versus the New Midnight Express. Obviously not a good match, but kind of entertaining in a comedy way. Too Much versus Al Snow and Head, and yes, Head had an official match in WWE. A fucking mannequin Head, yes. What else was he? Oh, it's a pretty solid opening with Kai Tai versus the Headbangers and Taka Michinoku. And I suppose for the second worst pay-per-view, oh yeah, got to be 1999. I mean, yeah, that pay-per-view was awful, to be honest with you. You had a really good main event with Austin versus McMahon in a ladder match. But apart from that, a couple of average matches. I mean, I thought Undertaker versus Rock for the WWF Championship was pretty average. You did have a nice solid little match on the undercard with Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian. But then you look at that tournament, that was just a bad King of the Ring tournament. Ironically, the best tournament match was probably Road Dogg versus Chyna. But then you had pretty short first round matches like Billy Gunn versus Ken Shamrock, X-Pac versus Hardcore Holly, and an absolute shitfest between Kane and the Big Show. Then the semi-finals, Road Dogg, X-Pac, that was short, and you had Billy Gunn, Kane. Then X-Pac and Billy Gunn was a pretty mediocre final. Can't even remember what else was on the card. I think that's pretty much it. There's probably at least one more match on there, but I'm not remembering it. I mean, for all how hot the Attitude Era was, especially in 1999, some of the pay-per-views were awful, and this was one of them. And this is one, why do you think King of the Ring never drew on pay-per-view? Is that strictly true? Because I've heard this before, and I kind of think that's a bit of a myth. So I've got some of the buy rates up here, so let's examine the evidence. So 1993, where we at, drew 245,000 buys. Now when you compare that, obviously WrestleMania, the big one, 430,000, but it only drew 5,000 less than SummerSlam the following August, which drew 250, and it drew considerably more than Survivor Series that year, which drew 180. So there you go. Then 1994, obviously I can give you that one. That one drew 185,000 buys, within comparison to 420 that the WrestleMania drew, 300,000 that SummerSlam drew, and 254 the Survivor Series drew. 1995, I can also give you that one away. To be fair, I think there's a reason this pay-per-view drew so bad, because it was a fucking shit card. This one drew 100. Actually, to be fair, I just noticed that 150,000 buys. WrestleMania drew 340. SummerSlam drew 205, but it did do better than Survivor Series. It drew 128. So that's quite surprised me actually. 1996 again. This one drew 197,000, which is considerably more than SummerSlam, which drew 157, and only 2,000 less than Survivor Series, which drew 199. 1997, I'll give you, that's probably a bad one as well, drawn 177,000 buys, compared to 250 Survivor Series, 235 SummerSlam. But let's have a look at some of the in your houses that year. I don't have them on this list. Never mind. I've only got certain pay-per-views listed in front of me. It doesn't have the in your houses here, so never mind that. What have we got? So yeah, 1998. This one, 310,000, which I think all the other big pay-per-views that year drew loads. So that's understandable that this drew, because obviously WrestleMania 730, SummerSlam 700, Survivor Series 478. Then have we got any 1998 pay-per-views to compare? So yeah, drew more than No Way Out with 189. Unforgiven that year drew 309. So did it? Yeah, this one drew slightly more than that. And what have we got? But over the edge, the month prior, which drew 211. So in 1999, what have we got there? We got 430, but obviously that was considered a low buy rate by 1999 standards. 2000, 475. This one actually drew better than Survivor Series that year, which drew 400,000. And here we go, 2001, 445, which was obviously down for WrestleMania and SummerSlam, but only 5,000 down from Survivor Series that year. And have we got any 2001 pay-per-views here? No Way Out drew 590. We got a 375 for Backlash, 350 for Unforgiven, 405 for Judgment Day the year before. So this was doing better than most of those pay-per-views. And then the last one, 320 for 2002, which, yeah, okay, that maybe is a bit of a downer compared to previous years. But it's only 2,000 less than 340. So I do think it's kind of a myth that King of the Ring as a whole didn't draw. I mean, obviously I think there was like some pay-per-views are good, some pay-per-views are bad. I think it just really depended on the card. I mean, generally back then, if you had a good, especially if you had a good title match or something like that, you'd draw a good buy rate, and if you didn't, you didn't. So, example 1994 is a good example. Obviously, that main event was Roddy Piper versus Jerry Lawler. That wasn't really a big match in 1995. Obviously, that was a bad buy rate, because that sucked. But ironically, it did do better than Survivor Series. So I've always kind of found that as a bit of a myth that King of the Ring didn't draw, and that's why they scrapped it. To be honest with you. So I think like I say, I think it's like anything really. I think if it was a good show, it'll draw a big buy rate. And then, what King of the Ring winner was the most underutilized? That's a good question. Probably say Ken Shamrock, because he won the King of the Ring, but didn't kind of really mean anything. Because at least other guys, obviously even failed King of the Rings, like Mabel and Billy Gunn, at least do have try to make them stars. I mean, obviously Mabel, main event that SummerSlam with Diesel, and holy fuck, could you really do more for Billy Gunn? You put him in a SummerSlam feud with The Rock. I mean, does it really get any better than that? But Ken Shamrock, his position before he won the King of the Ring, and when he won the King of the Ring afterwards, didn't really change. He was pretty much in the exact same position he was before he won the King of the Ring. So the King of the Ring didn't really do anything for him, to be fair. Okay, right. So I'll briefly go through these because I've got questions about specific years, and when I get to those specific years, I'll elaborate. So people who were in a tournament they want to see win but didn't. So say 93, 94, I think that's right, Brett and Owen. 1995, it's got to be Shawn Michaels. I think I've got another question about this, which I'll elaborate on later on, but Shawn Michaels for 1995 for me. 96, 97, I'll say Austin and Triple H, you got them right. 1998, while I didn't have a problem with Ken Shamrock winning, I think the Rock winner would have been perfect. Just would have been that much a little bit better, you know. 1999, this is no one I'll elaborate. I'll probably go with either X-Pac or Kane for that one. I think I would have made that the final, actually. 2000, of course, Kurt Angle, no problem with that. Edge, 2001, he was as good as anyone. I don't see why not. 2002, Lesnar, obvious choice. 2006, Booker T, yep, I'd go with that one. 2008, Regal, maybe, but that's only because right at the top of my head I can't really think of someone clearly better choice to win it. Maybe CM Punk, I don't know, that might have been cool. Then 2010 was that was Sheamus, wasn't it? Yeah, don't really have a problem with that, but maybe you could have argued it'd be perfect to have John Morrison win it, maybe. Then 2015, the last one, Wade Barrett. Yeah, I guess. Don't really have a problem either way if Wade Barrett win the tournament. But that's only because I can't really think of an obvious replacement for that. So yeah, next set of questions, Cody Bernard. What is the greatest King of the Ring? Not sure what you mean, if it's King of the Ring King of the Ring winner or King of the Ring pay-per-view. So I'm going to assume you mean win King of the Ring pay-per-view. And for me, 1993, it was the first one. It was a great tournament with Bret Hart winning it and all that. So go for 1993. Favourite match of this pay-per-view. Favourite, obviously not best, but obviously it's got to be Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell, hasn't it? I mean, I don't really feel the need to explain that one. I mean, obviously this is, for people my age who were watching wrestling in the 1990s, this has got to be one of the most iconic matches ever. I mean, if you saw it live or at the time, you know just how impactful this match was. I mean, when you think of the Attitude Era matches, within like 10 seconds you're probably going to think of this Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell match, aren't you? I mean, it was a classic. It was one of the most memorable, iconic matches of all time. I would say objectively, probably Bret and Mr. Perfect was a better wrestler match, but these two matches are kind of hard to compare. And obviously, just the whole aura behind this Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell edges just a little bit. Should they bring the King of the Ring back? Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind that, actually. I think it would actually be a pretty good concept now, because especially if you do it with all the brands, so you obviously Raw, SmackDown, NXT UK. If you kind of find a way to combine all those brands and put them in a tournament, I think it would work a lot better now. And especially now you've got all this content to fill. You've got all these TV shows and all that. And you've got the network now, so if you wanted to, you could just put it as a one night special on the network and it wouldn't really be a big deal or anything. Although, if it was up to me, I would do it slightly differently. Because if you remember, do everyone remember last year when the UK Championship tournament was coming back? Originally, that was advertised as the King of the Ring. So, I actually do kind of think it'd be cool if they did it as an NXT UK exclusive. Because I think it'd be cool for that brand. And two, UK is one of the very few countries left in the world that actually does have the monarchy. We actually do have a queen in this country. I don't know how many other countries do that, but we are definitely one of the very few. So that might work in that regard, so that'd be kind of interesting. Who would you book in the fans if you made your own tournament? So I'll give you two answers. One if I was just doing NXT UK, and one if I was doing overall. So if I was doing NXT UK, I'd probably have Pete Dunne versus Jordan Devlin in the final. I think that would be a cool match, and have Pete Dunne go over. If I was doing overall, I'd probably say, because you need a heel in this thing, so I'd go with Drew McIntyre, and he could face, maybe put a top star in there like AJ Styles, because one, I think that would be a cool as hell match, and They probably will do that match at some point this year. You got a good heel, you got a good babyface, and two pretty big stars in there. So that's what I'll go for. And what's the best King of the Ring? Is that that's the exact same question as your opening question. You've just changed the word greatest and changed the word best. So you've already asked that question, just in a different way. So next set of questions go from Owen Peterson. If you could change the outcome of any non-King of the Ring title match in King of the Ring history, what would it be? Yeah, this one was hard because there's not really any results. It's really pissed me off over there about King of the Ring. So this one is nitpicking just for the sake of giving an answer instead of saying, I don't know. So obviously, I think I'll go King of the Ring 1998. Austin doesn't lose the WWF Championship to Kane. And Kane doesn't have that one-day title reign. Not because I don't like Kane. It's just that Austin was so hot at the time. I don't really think taking the belt off him is always a good idea, even for one day. So I'll go with that. So who do you think would have been King of the Rings for certain years that no King of the Ring was held? So for this, I'll do from 2003 to present. And I'll just quickly go through them because I think I might have more questions about this. So 2003, and I'm gonna do this as though it be taking place in June of that year as well. So this will be taking account of people who were injured at the time or people that were in title feuds and stuff like that. 2003, I think John Cena would have been a good choice for that one. Cena was the rising star on SmackDown with the heel Dr. Thugonomics and all that, so I think he would have been a good choice. 2004, I think Randy Orton's definitely the obvious choice there. I mean, he was the future at the time, and obviously he was on his way to become the youngest world heavyweight champion. And it just would have made sense, if he was going to be the world champion at SummerSlam to win the King of the Ring before that, So 2005, I think Christian, because Edge had the Money in the Bank at the time, so I think it'd be good to give Christian something cool, because it just makes you wonder if Christian had got a big push in 2004-5, would he have left to go to TNA? I don't know. But I think Christian definitely deserves something. 2006 Booker T won, so we'll skip that one. I think 2007, maybe 2007 MVP could win that one. He was the United States champion. It was a really good rise to star on SmackDown at the time, so why the hell not? 2008 you had William Regal winner, so we'll skip that one. 2009, guess John Morrison. That'll be a good choice, I think, to win the King of the Ring that year in 2009. 2010 was Sheamus, so we don't need to go there. 2011, you could maybe give that to The Miz after losing the WWE Championship and kind of going back down to the upper mid-card. Especially with Alberto Del Rio winning the Raw Money in the Bank. I mean, that might be a good thing for The Miz to go ahead and win the King of the Ring and maybe rebuild his main event career after that. 2012, I think Daniel Bryan would have been a good choice for that one. Obviously, Bryan was so hot coming off the world title reign. He was just right in the middle of the feud of CM Punk. He was still a heel, so go to Daniel Bryan there. 2013, maybe you could have went to Ryback for that year because I think he needed something after the botched heel turn and the feud of Cena over the summer. So maybe Ryback could have took that one. 2014. Let's have a think for 2014. Maybe Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler. Why in hell not? Because 2014. Nah, I changed my mind. Probably go with Cesaro, that one. That's when he was calling himself the King of Swing. So that might have tied it that nickname. And God knows Cesaro deserved to push even 5 years ago and it still hasn't bastard happened. So Cesaro. 2015 was Wade Barrett. 2016. I'm trying to think back to the 2016 roster. Guess Kevin Owens would have been a good choice for that one. I think he could have done a good role as we played the Delusional King, actually. I think that'd be kind of entertaining. 2017. Let's have a think. Kind of think right now for 2017. It's kind of weird. I can't really think of the roster for 2 years ago. 2017 Shinsuke Nakamura, the King of Strong Style, would have been a good thing for him early in his WWE career. So go Shinsuke Nakamura for 2017. 2018, so last year, I think. Maybe Samoa Joe, because he was going to get the title feud of AJ Styles over the summer, so that might have worked for him. In 2019, right now, I think Drew McIntyre would be a great choice for King of the Ring. So thoughts on winners of King of the Ring being mostly heels. I think it just made sense, because I think two reasons. One, for the most part, WWE usually had a babyface champion. I mean, obviously a few years, so you have long-term heel champions. But for the most part, the WWE champions usually a babyface about 3/4 of the time. Especially back then, so obviously it was Bret Hart, it was Shawn Michaels, it was Steve Austin, it was The Rock, guys like that. So if you have a face champion, you need to build your heels up. And this is a good way to build a heel up. And the second reason, with the King of the Ring, then you could do the silly delusional king gimmick, which that's totally a heel gimmick. I mean, if the heel's going out there with a crown on his head pretending he's a king, that's funny. If the babyface does it, he kind of looks like an idiot, if that makes sense. So that's my theory as to why that is. Then we got what have we got? Let's have a look here. Thoughts on Owen Hart's commentary for the 1996 King of the Ring. Oh, I thought it was great. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic, to be fair. I think Owen Hart did an awesome job that night in commentary. At that point, I don't think he'd ever really done commentary before. Might have done like guest commentary for a match on Raw and things like that, but for a 3-hour pay-per-view, absolutely not. Be like him, Vince McMahon and Jim Ross did a really good job of that broadcasting. Owen, he was funny, he was witty, he had good opinions and stuff like that. Pretty much classic Jesse Ventura, always cheering for the heels, and it was hilarious in how biased he was in the Shawn Bulldog main event. That was great stuff. And dare say, if he was still alive now, he could probably be doing stuff like this today, to be honest with you. Who would you have become King of the Ring instead of Billy Gunn? For me, I'd probably go with X-Pac to win it. I mean, X-Pac, people might not realise how over X-Pac was in 1999, because obviously the whole term X-Pac heat in 2000, 2001 became a long-standing internet joke that people use to this day. So X-Pac heat was basically go away, we don't like you on TV heat. Because when 2000, 2001 came out, X-Pac was still playing the same character of 1998. And people found that boring. They just used to be, what's the word? Can't think of the word, but they just didn't really give a shit about him anymore. It was kind of that kind of... It wasn't good heat because you're here, it's good heat because we think you suck type thing. But in 1999, he was over as fuck. I mean, honest to God, he really was over. So I feel like you could have had him upset the odds and win the King of the Ring that year. And even, I know myself far-fetched to have him beat Kane in the final. Because, yes, X-Pac, the short guy, Kane's the big monster, big muscle man, But they could have easily had X-Pac win that King of the Ring. Maybe like he gets a lucky pin or something like that. And so I'll probably go with X-Pac. But if not X-Pac, then Kane for sure would be my second choice to win the King of the Ring that year. Then we got Sharmir. I've only got 2 questions. Here we go. Out the 3 accomplishments in brackets: Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank. Sheamus has all 3 accomplishments while Jericho has none. Thought, not really that bothered about that, to be honest with you. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, yeah, Sheamus had all these accomplishments, but Jericho's legacy in WWE is far bigger than Sheamus's, so it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest with you. I guess Sheamus is the kind of guy that always need that manufactured push, because Sheamus, I like Sheamus, I think he's a really damn good worker, but he always got over by being a guy that was always getting pushed and given accomplishments. I mean, he's also won a world title at WrestleMania that Jericho's never done either, so... and stuff like that. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't think Jericho needed any of these things. I mean, the only one you could really argue is he should have won the Royal Rumble. And how ironic, you really question that there. The Royal Rumble he should have won is the one that Sheamus won in 2012. But look at the King of the Ring. Don't think Jericho needed the King of the Ring in any of his tournaments. I don't think Jericho ever really needed Money in the Bank either. Whereas you could argue Sheamus needed all these things. I think especially I think Royal Rumble, yeah. King of the Ring, I guess, and Money in the Bank, yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, it's fine. I don't really have a problem with it at all. Because I just look back and say, I know Jericho's better than Sheamus. You know Jericho's better than Sheamus. So it doesn't really matter that much. And I'm the only one who's never really high in this concept. No, you're definitely not the only one. I mean, I started watching in 2010, so you can say I never really knew how great it is. But I watched the old stuff quite a lot, and I always liked the majority of the old stuff. But the King of the Ring tournament never really thrilled me that much, except maybe 1993. And even if I didn't enjoy it as much as most people, do you think it's a title thing you could only enjoy when you're there to witness it? No, not really. I think you could. I think it's one that if you like something, you like something. So obviously, when you watched it in 2010, you probably, because obviously by that point, the King of the Ring was a thing of the past, so WWE weren't really promoting it anymore. So when you watched your first Royal Rumble, for example, you probably saw all the hype and all that, and all the hype packages. And WWE told you how important this was, so it was probably in your head that the Royal Rumble was this great important thing. Same thing with WrestleMania, you know. Even as a kid, you probably knew how important WrestleMania was. So, and in fairness to King of the Ring, it was out of the big 5 pay-per-views, it was usually the lesser of the 5. So I don't really blame you for that, and that's totally fine by me. I mean, I like King of the Ring as well, but obviously, I would say out of the big, it's not as big as any of the big 4, and I like Money in the Bank better. So. And obviously, history shows sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. I mean, for every Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Steve Austin, you had a King Mabel or a Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. So, yeah, there we go. Next set of questions from Albert Butler. Most overrated King of the Ring event. I mean, this is stretching it because I don't really think anything stands out as being a hugely overrated King of the Ring, because I think, for the most part, I see most King of the Ring shows pretty much correctly rated. So, but to stretch and give you an answer for the sake of giving an answer, I guess 2000, I guess. Because I think sometimes people think, oh, do ref in 2000 would have been great, right? But not really. This show's alright. Definitely better than 1999, but especially compared to other shows that WWF were doing around this time, so Backlash, Judgment Day, Fully Loaded to 3 examples. This show's a really average show. I mean, I did not like that main event at all, the 6-man tag match for the WWF Championship. I thought the King of the Ring tournament matches were pretty meh. I mean, there's 2 really good ones, Kurt Angle versus Chris Jericho, and Val Venis versus Eddie Guerrero. But these aren't that memorable matches or anything like that. And then he had stuff like, we're going to get this later on, but the Patterson Brisco, oh god. Then the tag team title match was pretty good, but not great. Then the dumpster table match with the DX and the Dudleys was a fine match, but do you really need to have a match with the tables match and the dumpsters match in the same match? Vince Russo wasn't even there. Vince Russo was in WCW, so you can't even blame him for that overbooking. There we go. What's your favourite underrated match in brackets besides Shane versus Kurt Angle? Well, is Shane versus Kurt Angle really underrated though? I mean, I've got to question your comment there. I mean, I always thought Shane Kurt Angle's one of the matches that people talk about when they talk about King of the Ring, so I don't really subscribe to your theory that that's an underrated match at all. I mean, most people acknowledge that was a fantastic match type thing. But to answer your question, probably the most underrated King of the Ring match for me anyway. Remember Steve Austin versus Mark Mero from 1996, the opening match? That was an awesome opener, to be fair. I mean, pretty much, especially for that time when you didn't really have that many awesome opening matches. Wow, yeah, I thought it was great. Because obviously I think history kind of poo-poos Mark Mero's career. But Mark Mero's not a great wrestler, but he was definitely a pretty decent wrestler. Especially then, before the knee injury he had in 1997 kind of slowed him down. And this is the time where Austin was doing more technical wrestling and stuff like that. So they did actually have a fantastic match. I really did enjoy that match. Yeah, we got do you think they should have kept the event going after 2002? Yeah, I do. Especially when you had the brand split. So at the time you had Raw and SmackDown. So if you kept that going, that could have been cool to see more Raw versus SmackDown interactions. And they replaced it for Bad Blood, which, cool. But was that really that important of a pay-per-view? I mean, so for example, Bad Blood 2003 replaced King of the Ring, so could they not have just had the King of the Ring tournament and had Triple H and Nash main event anyway? Well, that's just me, maybe. I don't know. Could be me just talking shite there. Then watch your arena through 2002. It was the same arena for about 4 years, but you know what I'm on about? You know the King of the Ring doors, where you had those the jester people opening the doors for the wrestlers. You know what I'm on about? I can't really describe it, but I think it was the one for 94, 95, 96, and I think it was there for 1997 as well. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have a big production, but it just kind of looked cool to me anyway. So, we've got next questions. Waluigi deserves his own game, so, oh my god. Here we go. Worst King of the Ring pay-per-view match for you? Well, easy answer, really. Pat Patterson versus Gerald Brisco in a hardcore evening gal match. Can I just repeat that for you? Pat Patterson versus Gerald Brisco in the year 2000 in a hardcore evening gal match. So, yes, you could tell this match is something Vince basically booked to entertain himself and to be a complete joke. Oh my god. So Pat Patterson and Joe Briscoe, of course, the Stooges. Really entertaining act in their own right as Mr. McMahon's Stooges. But albeit ones that have been retired from the ring for about 15, 16, 17 years at that point. I mean, I think both guys were in the late 50s at that point. I mean, they'd both been legends back in the days of the 60s, 70s and early 80s. And in the year 2000, having a match of each other, which in itself may not be a bad idea, that could be entertaining shit. But this was for the WWF Hardcore Championship, and Patterson and Briscoe were wrestling in fucking drag. If you think I'm joking, look it up. It really happened. So, at the time, this was a 24/7 Hardcore Championship rule, and at some point, Joe Briscoe had become Hardcore Champion. And how did he become Hardcore Champion, you ask? Was it in this heroic, epic performance? No. He pinned Crash Holly when he was sleeping in the APA's room. Yep, that really happened. And I think he won it back and lost it a couple of times. And the Raw before King of the Ring, Pat Patterson turned on Gerald Brisco, smashed a bottle of champagne over his head, won the Hardcore Championship. So in the following SmackDown, Briscoe was looking for Patterson, but Patterson had a disguise, you see, because Pat Patterson was dressed up like a drag queen and went in the Divas locker room. Yes, and this is obviously a silly little homophobic joke because Patterson's gay, so therefore he cross-dresses. He. You know, I mean, you'd see that a few times, little subtle gay jokes towards Pat Patterson. So to find him, Joe Briscoe dressed up in drag and went in the Divas locker room to find Patterson. Then Patterson and Briscoe are fighting, and Vince McMahon found them. And then he booked this match for King of the Ring, Patterson and Briscoe, in a hardcore evening gown match. And oh my god! I mean, I don't really want to see Pat Patterson and Joe Briscoe fighting in drag. This match was ridiculous. I mean, just goes to show that because it was in the Attitude Era doesn't necessarily mean it was great. The Attitude Era had some bad shit as well, as long as most of the good shit. Then, worst King of the Ring winner for you. Easy answer there, Mabel, 1995. I mean, just showed how bad the product was. That when WWF was on the ropes, Vince's big plan was for King Mabel to win the King of the Ring. In main event, SummerSlam versus Diesel for the championship. Oh, God. Oh, that was just bad. I mean, Mabel, he wasn't really a good wrestler. He wasn't really charismatic or anything. Because at the time, obviously, the steroid trial happened, and Vince couldn't really push big steroid guys up anymore. But Vince, of course, still favoured big guys, so I guess Vince's thinking was, well, if I can't push big muscular guys, I'll push big fat guys instead, and went for Mabel. So in a tournament that had Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker in it, and then people like Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, that weren't even in the tournament, he goes, oh yeah, let's have Mabel win the tournament. Yeah, that went down not particularly well. Oh, and they did it in the Philadelphia crowd as well, which, if I've learned one thing, you don't do stupid stuff in front of a Philadelphia crowd. It tends to not go too well. What's your favourite match between Taker Mankind or Kurt versus Shane? Yeah, like as I said before, Undertaker versus Mankind. I mean, I talked about it earlier in the video, so we don't need to go into that one in too much detail again. But yes, definitely Undertaker versus Mankind. Most underrated King of the Ring pay-per-view match for you. I explained that about 5 minutes ago. Steve Austin versus Mark Mero opened a match at King of the Ring 1996. Thought that was a great match. I don't think enough people remember, because obviously that King of the Ring, you got Austin win the tournament doing Austin 316. So people tend to forget about his first match with Mark Mero. Then, oh, this is a good one. Do you think the Austin Kane first blood match was controversial or pointless due to Kane's body being totally protected by his attire? Well, that's one dumb reason for this match. I mean, yeah, Kane had a mask and a full bodysuit on, so how the hell could you make him bleed? I mean, that was stupid in itself, but you could kind of justify that with Vince putting Austin in a possible situation. What was fucking retarded-eyed, however, I mean, this is what I've gone back to this one way more than the whole bodysuit thing. The stipulation for this match was as followed. Kane stated if he did not win the WWF Championship on this night, he would set himself on fire and breathe his last breath. What? So Vince Russo, give this match the stupidest stipulation possible and booked himself in a complete hole that Kane had to win the title that night because, for obvious reasons, Kane's not actually going to set himself on fire on live pay-per-view and kill himself, essentially. So, awesome logic there by Kane. Yeah, if I don't win the title, I'm going to commit suicide live on pay-per-view. Why would you even say that? I mean, I know wrestling's not real and you have to not take things too seriously sometimes, but seriously, who the fuck thought it was a good idea for the challenger to declare he's going to set himself on fire if he did not win the title? Oh, God. And yeah, for obvious reasons, after finish you could not possibly do, because you can't actually have a man set himself on fire on live pay-per-view, because he would perish, wouldn't he? Oh, God. I mean, God, Vince Russo, sometimes he just annoyed me so much. And this is one of those times, really was. So, thanks for the questions. Then we got 3 more sets of questions, and this will be a wrap, guys. So, probably less than an hour this video. So, Mr. Monday Night, good question here. Oh, what was the best King of the Ring tournament match? I mean, that's an obvious one. Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect from 1993. That was a classic match. Love that match. I mean, I'm of the opinion this match was better than the SummerSlam 1991 match, even though the SummerSlam 1991 match was probably more iconic and memorable, with it being in Madison Square Garden and Bret winning the Intercontinental title. And everyone knows about Mr. Perfect's back injury, but I think as a pure match, this one was definitely better. For one, Mr. Perfect was 100% for this match. He didn't have the back injury, and they just had a great wrestling match, you know. I mean, Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, that's pretty much as perfect in-ring chemistry as you can get. I mean, you could tell they just loved wrestling each other. And in many ways, this was the greatest match they ever had on together. Oh, I love this match so much. It's a fantastic wrestling match with a great finish of Bret going over, reversing the small package. It was a nice babyface versus babyface match as well. Would you have gone about the whole? How would you have gone about the whole Austin Lesnar situation around King Ring 2002? So the situation was, because obviously this was the straw that broke the camel's back, essentially. The very thing that made Austin say, fuck this, I quit and walk out the WWE for a bit. So, but obviously I think it was building up before that of Austin creative frustrations and his neck injuries and stuff like that. But this one was definitely the final straw. So on that episode of Raw, I guess the one that Austin missed, I guess I was like, I can't remember the exact date, but what was going to happen that night was going to be a King of the Ring qualifying match. Brock Lesnar versus Steve Austin. Brock Lesnar was going to go over, and Austin was like, are you fucking kidding me? And you're like, really, that's what we're going to do? So Austin didn't come to Raw. So how about work around it? Not book the match in the first place, because it was stupid at the time. If you prefer the first Austin versus Lesnar match on Raw, unadvertised, and with absolutely no build-up whatsoever, Lesnar goes over Austin just like that for no apparent reason. Number one, why in 2002 would you have Austin being the King of the Ring tournament to begin with, because firstly, Austin won the King of the Ring 6 years ago, and I don't know, went on to be arguably the biggest star in the company's history. So why would you, in a tournament for upper mid-carders to maybe elevate themselves to the main event, why would Austin even be in the tournament? Number two, you got Brock Lesnar. Obviously at the time this guy was going to be a future star, and he was. Why would you throw him a big match like Brock Lesnar versus Steve Austin on Raw without no build-up? Number two. And why would you have Lesnar just randomly go over for no reason? At the time, because guys like Austin were rare to find. If you have people like Steve Austin, you only job them out on pay-per-view and it means something. You don't job them out on a random Raw for no fucking reason, you know. And this was at a time where, obviously, I think it was a time where obviously pay-per-view was still a thing, so you preserve your buy rate. Kind of think that's why we get more bigger matches on lower pay-per-views and television now, because with the WWE Network, there's no real pressure to draw that 300, 400,000 buys anymore. So I think that's why we get stuff like Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles and Money in the Bank instead of saving for SummerSlam. Or to go back a few years ago, I think that's why we got the Shield triple threat on a Battleground and not save for a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania. Because the pressure's not there to draw a big buy rate anymore, whereas at the time it was. So you preserved your big matches for your big pay-per-views at the time, and obviously at the time Monday Night Wars wasn't a thing no more, so they didn't really have anything to compete with, so they didn't need to beat WCW that night. So the whole thing was just completely pointless, and I think the best way I could go around situations to not book it at all. Just don't do it. It was stupid, and it led to shit things. Then did you prefer when they only had semi-finals onwards on pay-per-view? I think so, yeah. Because it's kind of funny. They did it, and then I think it was 96, 97, 98. They went to the semi-finals and the final. And then for some reason they brought it back to the quarter-finals in 99, 2000. Then they went back to the semi-final concept in 2001, 2002. I think I did prefer the semi-finals and the final to just be on the pay-per-view. Two reasons, obviously, you could have more, you could build the tournament on Raw and all that, so you could have more quality TV matches on Raw. And two, if you have the semi-finals and the finals, that's only 3 matches, so you could book a much stronger undercard on there. So you could book more meaningful matches than non-tournament matches on the show. Because obviously you've got the quarter-finals, semi-finals and the final, that's 7 matches. So at that point you only have room for 2 or 3 undercard matches. So obviously if you do semi-finals and the final, you've got room for maybe 4 or 5 undercard matches, and overall probably a better pay-per-view. So yeah, I agree. I'll probably say I'd definitely prefer the semi-finals and the final. Then why wasn't it pushed alongside the other Big Fours? But I guess because it came later in the game, because I think the Big Fours got established in 88, 89, and then by 1993 they already had quite a bit of history behind it. And then the King of the Ring came in 1993, and I guess you could call it the stepchild of the pay-per-views at the time. I mean, it was always, so essentially it was there to bridge the gap between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, because you have WrestleMania either last week of March or the first week of April, and SummerSlam in those days didn't usually come around until the very end of August, so essentially that's 4 or 5 months in between pay-per-views. So I think that's why King of the Ring is there to begin with, to have a pay-per-view in the middle of it. But yeah, it was obviously, could you say it was the Big 5, or was it the Big 4 and then the King of the Ring? So I think it was just really pushed aside because obviously it came after the Big 4 became a thing. So anything after the Big 4, I guess, was seen as the lesser pay-per-views. And then obviously later on, we got a pay-per-view every single month. So you've got all these in your houses now. So it kind of gets pushed a little bit more to the back burner to try and get this in your house concept over as well. So it's just unfortunate, really. And then it was Edge of the right choice to ring King of the Ring. Felt it was too early, as he didn't really become a main event until 5 years after. Yeah, he was as good as anyone. I mean, you look at that tournament, who else really? Was Christian going to do it? No. Kurt Angle didn't need it. He was already a main eventer. I suppose you could say Rhino, maybe. Then obviously you look at the WWF roster at the time. So to me, that's not really an obvious replacement for Edge. But I think Edge was really unlucky with that King of the Ring, because what happened right after the King of the Ring? The invasion angle started. So what kind of happened after the invasion angle started? Pretty much everything else got put on the back burner because they had to get this invasion over and start the invasion. So Edge's King of the Ring win in other years might have led to a big push down the line, but at the time the invasion angle was starting right after that, and that kind of took priority over everything else. So Edge's King of the Ring victory pretty much got forgotten about straight away because of the invasion and all that. So, and yeah, you're right, he didn't become a main eventer for 5 years later. I agree with that. That's fine. That makes sense to me. But yeah, I'd say Edge was pretty much the right choice. I don't really have a big issue with that at all. Mainly because I can't really think of anyone else that was obviously better choice than Edge at the time. Then we've got 2 more sets of questions and we're done. So Diesel 101 Raw. We got is it wrong to still feel The Rock should have won King of the Ring 1998? Even in heel fashion would have been nice. No, it's not wrong at all. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think Ken Shamrock was a good King of the Ring. Yeah, wait, no. Yeah, he was alright King of the Ring. I don't really have a problem. But yeah, like I say, I think The Rock would have been absolutely perfect for that role. I mean, Rock 1998 was just on the rise and one of the biggest heels in the company behind Kane and Mankind. And obviously later on in the year, he would be the WWF champion. And then he had an alright career, didn't he? That Rock fella. And wonder what that Dwayne Johnson guy did alright for himself. But yeah, I think that's going to be icing on the cake for a great 1998 for him, because obviously great Intercontinental title reign, leader of the nation, awesome feud of Triple H, then got really over and became a WWF champion, winning the Deadly Games tournament. So that would have been ironic. He wins 2 big tournaments in the same year, winning the King of the Ring and winning the Deadly Games tournament. So yeah, I definitely think like he should have done it. Is it fair to say had King of the Ring still been around in 2004, Randy Orton for sure would have won it? Yeah, I think so. I think I said that earlier, but I think absolutely, I think Randy Orton would have definitely won a King of the Ring in 2004, hypothetically. Because obviously he was a real up-and-coming heel at the time. He was about to become the World Heavyweight Champion. So, and they were pushing Randy Orton as the future of the company at the time. I know that didn't really turn out that way they wanted, because John Cena eventually became that. But God, yeah, for me, yeah, definitely Randy Orton, King of the Ring 2004 would have been perfect. Am I the only one who felt whoever started to do Owen and Razor being the final match of the friggin' Genius would have been perfect for Eve Man to win? No, yeah, great. I mean, look at the 1994 tournament they had Owen Hart, Tatanka, Mabel, IRS, Razor Ramon, Bam Bam Bigelow, Jeff Jarrett, 1, 2, 3 Kid. Those are the 8 guys. Out of those 8 guys, Owen and Razor were easily the top 2 stars in that, and easily the top 2 obvious choices to win. So logically, when you have a tournament like that, you have your 2 top guys go in the final. So made perfect sense to me. I mean, Owen Hart, of course, went in the winner, but Razor was a really hot babyface at the time. He wasn't. He wasn't the Intercontinental Champion at the time, but he had been, and he would be again. So yeah, you could have easily, in kayfabe terms, either guy had an equal shot at winning. I mean, obviously, if I was an adult at the time, I would have known Owen Hart was going over, because he was feuding with Brett, so that just made sense. So, but yeah, I definitely agree. That was a perfect match to do for the final. Would Kane have been a better winner for 1999 than Brett? It's funny, a while ago I felt it wouldn't be a better Triple H win it a second time in another Q&A. Kane would have been better than Billy Gunn. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said before, I think perfect choice would be X-Pac, but Kane definitely would have been my number 2 choice, and I think he would have done well with it. King Kane, kind of has a ring to it, doesn't it? It was still happening in 2003. Who would have been the winner for it? I'll go with, like I said earlier, John Cena. I think he would have been the obvious choice there. The up-and-coming heel at the time, Doctor of Thugonomics, all that jazz. Yeah, for me, I definitely would have had John Cena going over in that King of the Ring tournament. I think he would have done a good job then. Last set of questions from Stephen Taylor. Am I the only one who thanks Lord Steve Austin didn't wear the crown and jacket? I think it would have made him look a little goofy in Leslie's 316 promo, and that's the bottom line, because someone will have said so. You're telling me? I mean, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So, say Steve Austin does that exact same promo and the exact same demean, the exact same manner, but if he delivers a line wearing the goofy crown and cape, it would have nowhere near the same impact. I mean, I don't know if this was a WWF thing or Austin doing it himself, but Austin did not wear the cape that night. It's because if you watch the promo, you can see the crown, the cape's there, so, but Austin didn't do it. Like I say, I don't know if that was Vince saying I didn't want Steve Austin to do that, or Steve Austin saying, fuck that, I'm not putting on that stupid shit. But yeah, I agree, and there's kind of funny backstory behind it. So do you remember the following year when Triple H won the tournament, and he smashed the crown over Mankind? So so for Raw for like 2 or 3 weeks, Triple H would he'd never actually put the crown on. He'd always find a way to smash it by dropping it or hitting Mankind with it or something. And it was because obviously he was doing it because he didn't want to wear the crown. And then Vince was like, "You're not going to wear that thing, are you?" "No." "Okay, you don't have to wear it then." And obviously the King Hunter thing got dropped after that. So yeah, obviously the King, I suppose it was alright in the cartoony New Generation era, but when you're getting more serious around 96, 97, 98, and you have guys in goofy crowns and cape, it just kind of looks stupid, and it would have absolutely hurt the Stone Cold character to do that. Is Bret Hart Mr. King of the Ring? Nah, I don't know. Is he I can't really think of a standout guy for Mr. King of the Ring. I didn't know, not really. Yeah, he won the first tournament and did great there, but what did he do after that? 1994, had a great title match with Diesel, but this isn't like a defining match of his career or anything like that. 1995, he had that Kiss My Foot match with Jerry Lawler. Wasn't on 1996 because he was on hiatus. And then he was injured for 1997, so what did he do? Really? I guess Stone Cold more than anyone, I guess, if you had to pick someone. If I pick someone, I'll say Steve Austin, because obviously he won it in 1996. Had that great match with Michaels in 1997. Main event in 1998 versus Kane. Main event in 1999 with McMahon's. And main event in 2001 against Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. So, yeah. And did Jazz King commentary make King of the Ring more awesome? I felt so. Yeah, no more than they made any pay-per-view they did more awesome. I mean, I don't really know what stands out about Jazz King's commentary at King of the Ring events. I mean, Gian King were awesome in any show they did. Wait, back in that time anyway, maybe not so much later on in the 2000s, mid to late 2000s, but I would say Gian King's prime years from like 98 till about 2002, 2003. I mean, any pay-per-view that he did together they made it awesome. Every Raw they announced together, they were awesome, so not particularly. Thoughts on the King of the Ring 2002 not doing a trophy nor the crown / jacket? To be fair, until you said that, I didn't really notice. I mean, because I was thinking, did Brock? Because for some reason in my head I had that the Brock Lesnar had a trophy, but now I'm thinking about, yeah, you're right, he didn't. So I think Brock would be like Austin. Obviously, Brock Lesnar in the crown and cape would have looked silly. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I don't really know why they didn't have a trophy. I mean, they could have easily, because the trophy only really happened in 2001, and that was only really funny because Christian was delusional holding the trophy like he'd won a type thing. But obviously he was jealous, and that all led to Christian turn on Edge later on. So yeah, I don't really mind, to be honest with you. I don't think Brock Lesnar needed to carry around the trophy. I mean, I guess it would have been alright, I suppose. But as far as the crown jacket thing, yeah. I mean, obviously if Brock Lesnar wore the crown, the jacket in the coronation, he'd probably look like a bit of a jackass. I mean, it just would not have been a good fit at all. And that's a wrap, guys. So we're out of questions now, so that's thanks to everyone who sent questions, guys. So obviously we've got Dominion coming up this week. I'll be definitely reviewing that on either Sunday or Monday. Might do a preview videos later on. So like I say, thanks for the questions, guys, and until next time, peace.